outside of their population.
Okay, let's take it back to some history.
I'm curious. Commit more kidnappings, for example, or crimes than whites do. Blacks commit more crimes than whites do. They commit more murders, they commit more arsons, they commit more kidnappings. For example, blacks are 13% of the population, and blacks commit more crimes than whites do. They commit.
Shalom, 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 giving all honor and glory to Abba Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah, Mashiach Rakathai, Baba Kasha, Abba Yahweh, Baba Kasha, Abba Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah, Mashiach Rakathai, the Howard for the Rakah Kodash, the Howard for our forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Yaakov, the Howard for the house of faith, the house of King David, the men that's in the streets, and the highways and the byways, prophesying the downfall of Esau, Edom, and waking up the lost sheep of the house of Yasharallah, which is the hopeful elect, the house of David, the third temple that's being built. The order for Yahweh Shah, our Passat, our atonement. The order for the great king, Abba Yahweh. Once again, by Hashem Yahweh Shah, Mashiach, and the apostles and the prophets and the meek servants of Abba Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh Shah. The order for the Yaakov, children of Yasharallah, Shalom, Barakatai. A meek service lesson. And you got this Edomites, Salaki, you got this Edomite, this so-called white man, say that Judah, Yahweh, which is the so-called Negroes, so-called African Americans, Jake, the 12 tribes of Yasharallah, commit more murder than Esau, commit more crime than Esau, commit more kidnapping, anything evil and wicked. Judah, starting with the head tribe of Yasharallah, that Jake commit more crimes, more murder than the so-called white man, Esau Edom, the devil the Bible speaks of. That Jake commit more crime than the devil, right? More crime than Satan, according to this Edomite, according to the so-called white man, where he's the number one raper, robber, murderer you see on the planet Earth. Anything wicked and evil, the number one alphabet, the number one in bestiality, anything evil and wicked, he's the number one. He's uno. What does it take to be number one? You see? Like Nelly say, he's number one. So that's a big lie he's telling, but he's the father of lies, right? He's Cain in the regeneration. The first murder in earth was done by the hand of Cain. Cain slewing his brother Abel, who was the righteous seed of Adam. And Cain came back on the earth as Esau, the forefather or the progenitor of the Edomites. And Abel came back on the earth as Jacob, as the 12 tribe, who was the righteous seed of Abba Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Now, do we have murderers amongst Israel? Yes, we do. Do we have kidnappers amongst Israel? Yes, we do. But who's the number one? Who's uno? Jake not number two or number three. All right? Who have the resources? Who commit the wars? Who pollute the air with chemtrails? Who is in control of pharmacy, big pharmacia? Who have Project Bluebeam? Who controls CERN and HARP? Who's poisoning the waters, the food supply? Who's creating the shortages in the food supply? You see, so when you deal with all these elements of every crime, every high crime, it go back to Esau Edom. Who is in control of the earth? Esau, Edom. Who's the God of this world? Esau, Edom. So, who got the power to kill to murder by the billions? Esau, Edom. You can't make this up. I ain't got to be long in this lesson. So he's number one. He have the resource. He have the power. He's the judge on the earth. He's the ruler on the earth. You see, that's what's going on, Yasharal. Let's pull out some precepts. I ain't got to spend much time. Jake not in rulership. We ain't the number one murder by far or anything he's going to say. We ain't no number 1, 2, or 3, or 4, or 5. So this come out with Job 9:24. You know how many slaves on the planet Earth been murdered by the Edomites? Spiritually, he killing us with a philosophy, an ideology. He murdering us. He's killing us softly. You know how many people going to perish? How many Israelites going to perish because they bugged out with religion that Esau have given them? How many drugs they have got into the cities? We can go on and on, man. Because everything evil that's happening on the earth, and murder would be evil. Anything that's happening on the earth, evil is this man. He's the controller. He's the judge. He's the God of this world. He's on the currency. He controls the ports, trade and commerce, the planes in the sky. He controlled the banks. The so-called black man don't control shit. Because the so-called black man got to go to Esau and want a vote in. He wants some cereal and milk. He wants some meat to put on the grill. He wants a job. He wants a driver's license. He wants a business license. Got to go to the devil. Esau, Edom. The so-called white man. So how he's the number one in everything. And murder. Come on, man. Make it make sense, right? Just make that make sense. Let's get to the book of Job, chapter 9. I ain't gonna be long in this lesson. I don't have to be long. You can do 4 hours. You can do 12 hours on Esau, evilness and murderness. Come on, man. That's no competition. That's a quick hit. Job 9:24. That's comedy. That's comedy what he's saying. That tickle your feet. Job 9:24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. The wicked would be the Edomites, the so-called white man, the Caucasian race. He covered the faces of the judges and the head judges, Yahweh, right, who the world ignorantly and intentionally called Jesus Christ. He gave us Cesar Borgia, another murderer. He gave us a murderer. He gave us a man that slept with his own sister, Lucretia Borgia. So they gave us a murderer and said that's your savior. You know how many people then got killed over that image? Spiritually and physically. So Jake is not, he's out of his league. And Jake only killed Jake 95% of the time. Israelites are killing Israelites. And we're not condoning that. Murder is murder. And the Most High going to deal with Jake and Eve on that. But to put him as the number one on the earth, that's ticklish. That's madness. That's comedy hour. Jake don't have the resources. And it's not in us to do that. But Esau have set the conditions for these Jakes to kill. For the so-called black man, the so-called Mexican man to kill. They have set the stage. But it's evil and it's wicked, and the Most High going to bring judgment on them for that. But to say they the number one, that's madness. If not, where and who is he? You see? So Esau is a lie. He's a liar, right? He lied every time he opened his mouth. That man is lying on this panel. The Most High say the wicked are estranged from the womb, talking about the so-called white race, the Edomites, the Caucasian race, the caveman. The wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. And this man is speaking lies when something like that come out of his mouth, as the so-called black man, the Negroes, the African Americans, or the number one murder, this and this and this and that. That is lies. Because the Most High, if that was the case, the Most High would call Jacob the wicked, and Esau would be considered the righteous. So how we the number one when we the righteous in the Bible? We was given the law, statutes, commandments, and judgments, and testimony. Make it make sense, right? The Most High said their poison, which was their religion, their Christianity, they Baptist, they Seventh-day Adventists, they Islam, because that's all started by Esau. Even when you deal with Islam, that shit started with Esau. All these beliefs, all these philosophies and rudiments of men. They are like the deaf adder that stoppeth ear, which is your understanding, her ear, Salakia. An ear, you hear with your ear. That's how you get an understanding, by hearing. So Esau have destroyed the Israelites' understanding of their own book. They own our own book. Can't make this up, right? Now, let's get to some of his murdering acts, making him the number one murderer. Let's go to the book of Malachi, chapter 1 and verse 3. The Most High say, I have loved you, said the Elohim. You say Salakia. Let's read that right. Yasharallah. Let's read it right. Malachi 1 and 2. I have loved you, said the Elohim, Abi Yahweh Ba'ashmi Awashai. Yet ye say, wherein hast thou loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother? Said the Elohim, yet I have loved Jacob. So the Most High loved the so-called African American, who was the tribe of Judah, along with the Jamaicans and the West Indies, the Haitians, right? Levi and Benjamin. Going on to the other tribes, the northern kingdom, like Asher, Ephraim, Gad, Naphtali, Zebulun, Simeon, you see, Manasseh, see, Simeon. I hated Esau and laid his mountains, meaning his governments. Look at U.S. governments. Look at Europe governments, France, Poland, Russia, so forth and so on. And his heritage waits for the dragons, see, of the wilderness. Whereas Edom, the so-called white man, the Edomites, said, we are impoverished, but we will return, which they returned during the Renaissance period. They did return. That happened already. Renaissance means rebirth of a nation. They returned, and they built, and they still building, and the Most High is still throwing down. And built the desolate places. Thus said the Elohim Abba Yahweh of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them, the so-called white folks, these white people, the Caucasians, the cave dwellers. Caucasian mean cave dweller. Call them the border of wickedness. So anything wicked, it start with them. They the origin and the beginning of everything evil, murderous, having that murderous spirit. They were created to be the wicked. They were created to be the wicked. They were created to be the murderer. Starting with Cain killing Abel. So they was created to do this. They made for this. They born for this. We don't even have the weapons to be the number one murderer on the planet Earth. We don't have the technology. We don't have the capability. We would have to be on the power seat to be the number one murderer. For the black man to be the number one murderer, he would have to be in rulership. It's not make sense, Israel. Let's cut lies. We not gonna propagate lies. We gonna cut lies. We tired of lies. We didn't heard enough of that from the serpent Esau Edom, from the dragon Esau Edom. We didn't had enough of that. Let the truth flourish, right? Whereas Edom said, "We are in poverty, but we will return and build the desolate places." Thus said the Elohim of hosts, "They shall build, but I will throw down." See, and they shall call them, the Edomites, Edom, them. Esau is not a man singular; he's a nation. Genesis 36. They are a nation of people. They're not one individual. And they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people. See, Edom is a people. Edom, meaning red, in the Hebrew is Adawam, and the Greek is Idumea or Idumi. So they are people against whom the Elohim had indignation forever. So the so-called black man is the number one murderer, the number one raper, the number one kidnapper. Wouldn't he be the border of wickedness? Come on, man, make it make sense, right? Wouldn't he be in rulership right now? Because Yahweh Shai said when he returned to the earth again, that Esau would be in rulership, the wicked. The so-called black man ain't in rulership on the planet Earth. Not the last time I checked. So by process of elimination, the Edomites are the so-called white man. They the one controlling the earth's wealth. That's actual and factual. Now let's go to the book of Genesis 27 and verse 39. And let's see who's the number one ruler. Let's see who's the number one murderer. I didn't read it, but I put more meat on it. And Isaac, his father, answered, and this is going to tell you who your number one murderer is on the planet. Who came and slaughtered all the natives here by the millions? Christopher Columbus, who was Cristobal Colon, say he never put his sword down one time. They murdered millions of the Israelites, of the Aborigines and indigenous people of the land. They slaughtered millions of the buffaloes so we wouldn't have no food to eat. So we would have to go to them and want of all things. Come on, Israel, make it make sense. This lightweight, right? This lightweight. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth. Talking about the so-called white man and woman. That's why they got the fatness of the earth. They live in a good place. We even call it the white neighborhood. They live in the best parts of the earth. They got their yachts, their private jets, their planes. And even on the lower level, they had their White House with the white picket fence. You see, while we was in the slums of the ghetto, make it make sense, Israel. The dew of heaven from above, and by thy sword. So who's the number one murderer in the Bible? And by thy sword. Sword mean destruction. It mean weaponry. Who have all the weapons? Who have all the weapons on the earth? So-called white man. And by thy sword, he got militaries everywhere. And by thy sword, so the Most High say he will live by the sword. Shall thou live? So he lived by the sword. So who's the number one murderer? Who's living by the sword? The Edomites. And shall serve that. That's it on that. That's it on that. Now let's go to Ezekiel. Let's go to the book Ezekiel, chapter 35, and verse number 1. The Most High said, Moreover, the word of the Elohim came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir. Who's Mount Seir? The Edomites. Because Mount Seir is their home. The cliffs of the rocks. Captain K, yay, man. Right? Is the Flintstone. We're the Flintstones. See? Fred and Barney. Mount Seir is the rocks, the cliffs of the rocks. And prophesy against it, and say unto it, thus said the Elohim, Abba Yahweh, behold, O Mount Seir, Esau Edom, right? That's his home, right? I am against thee, and I will stretch out my hand against thee, and I will make thee most desolate. And that's what he's doing to the home. Mount Seir will be America today, the home of the Edomites. I will lay thy cities waste. Look at your cities in USA. Look at your cities. Take a walk, take a ride on the bicycle, or get in your car, or catch one of the public city buses. Take a look at your city. It's falling apart, Israel. Behold, Salakia, and thou shalt be desolate, and thou shalt know that I am the Elohim, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and shed the blood. So who's shedding blood here? Is it the Negro man, the so-called Hispanic man, the so-called Native Indian man? Who's shedding the most blood on the planet Earth? Who's doing it, Israel? Who got the power to do it and get away with it? Not just do it, but get away with it. And this is a proud Edomite to even say that the so-called black man is the number one when it comes to things being evil and wicked. See, that's the pride of Esau. He's very proud to even utter that out of his mouth. You got to be a proud devil. He's a pompous. As it says in Isaiah chapter 14, that man is a pompous to even say this. Knowing what he's saying is not true. The statistics don't back him up. The Bible don't back him up. The Most High don't back him up. Yahweh Shai, who you call Jesus the Christ, don't back him up in what his statement is. We don't back him up in that. And has shed the blood of the children of Israel, see, the 12 tribes, by the force of the sword, you see, because that's how you should live. We just read that in Genesis 27:39, by the sword. That's his blessing. His blessing is to be the wicked. His blessing is to be the devil the Bible speaks of. That's what he's ordained for. He's ordained to be the man of destruction, the son of perdition, right? Esau is the son of perdition in Thessalonians. In the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. See, even when our iniquity had an end, our punishment is over with, he's still killing us. Therefore, as I live, said the Elohim Abba Yahweh, I will prepare thee unto blood. You see, the number one murderer is the Edomites, Mount Seir, Esau Edom, the so-called white man. And blood shall pursue thee. Seeing thou hast not hated blood, this man don't hate blood. So who's the number one murderer? Even blood shall pursue thee. See? That's what's going on. And you can continue to read on, Israel. Study to show yourself approved. Continue to read, right? Don't take my word for it. I'm coming, thus say Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. This is the Most High speaking through Prophet Ezekiel. He's the bloodshedder, right? He have cut men off in their job. Ain't Trump just put executives that's going to have you jobless in your labor through AI and the robots they're going to replace you with? The most I call this man bloodshedder. He that taking away his neighbor's living, they're taking away your living. Who's taking away your living, your lifestyle, your housing? And that's taking away your mind mentally. If you don't have these things mentally, you'll lose it and cause you to commit suicide to yourself. You see? So who's in the power to be the number one murderer? Sure ain't Judah. Sure ain't Jake. He that taketh away his neighbor's living slayeth him. And he that defrauded the laborer of his hire. is a what? Is a blood shedder. So Esau is that blood shedder. Right? Esau is that blood shedder. Just want to come out. I could keep coming out with precepts all day on Esau Israel. Right? All day on this topic. Shalom.